Okay, guys, we're live. Welcome to the October meeting of the South Kingstown Recreation Commission. Today is Monday, October 20th. And tonight we have from the commission, Joanne Blessing, Will Litvin, myself, Matt Frazier, and John Hansen. And absent tonight is Sean Johnson. And from staff we have Rex Eberly, Terry Murphy, and Lenka Cape. Did anyone have a chance to review the minutes from our previous meeting, which was the September 15th meeting?
I did. And I will make a motion to approve the minutes. Okay.
I second that motion.
Great. Motion by John to approve the September minutes, second by Joanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you really read them?
I did.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not even sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, usually it's.
Of course we did that. Of course we did.
Yeah.
Because Will throws curveballs in sometimes.
Great. So we have some correspondence and public comment and some new business items, but we do have Ken Burke from the bike pedestrian. Tell us the bike path.
Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee.
Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee with us tonight. And we do have a discussion on our agenda, new business item G, which is a discussion of the bike path hours of operation. And if there's any issue with moving that up to the front, I propose that we'd
Let's
like
do
to
it.
move
Yeah,
that
let's-
up.
Yeah.
That's okay?
I'm interested.
All right. So we'll move new business item G up to now, and that's the discussion of bike path hours of operation per the town ordinance currently dawn to dusk, and requests for changing the ordinance to allow for usage after dark. Okay?
That's correct. There have been some requests at the town council level, and also by a town council person as well at the most recent town council meeting for consideration of changing the operating hours of the bike path to be open for public use during the evening. Currently, the ordinance that oversees the bike path is also the park ordinance, which is parks are open dawn to dusk. Well, we know that we have lights in some of our parks, and when there are lights and organized activities, those parks are open. But for the most part, any parks without athletic lighting are not open after dusk. Just a little background, we did have a very late arriving correspondence from Lisa Beth Sanford, who I believe is also on the BPAC, also advocating for consideration of allowing for the bike path to be open in the evenings. It is an ordinance. This is not a policy decision necessarily by the Recreation Commission, but in light of the fact that our Parks Division maintains the bike path and it is a recreational amenity in town, I thought that the commission would want to be informed of the recent discussions and proposals and have a discussion about what you think, if you have any opinion on it. And also there is obviously this public interest as well. So I just put it out there. Rex and I are happy to provide any information that you'd like about the bike path, and then we also have Ken here from the public.
I have a question. Is there a liability issue in terms of using it?
I'm sorry, I meant to mention too that at the most recent town council meeting, this was referred to the town solicitor to research the liability implications, that type of thing, if the ordinance were to be amended to allow for some modification of the existing schedule for the bike path. So that's where that is. That's where the town council directed the administration to go with that, to report back. And I thought this was a timely point to have a discussion. Although this was not handed down as something from the town council, I simply put it on here for informational purposes and for you all to discuss and hear from the public if there was public to be heard from.
Thanks, Terry. Yeah, I think it's going to be very important for the commission to hear back from the town solicitor on what the liability issues that, you know, could and would be if the hours were modified, which could obviously sway how we feel about things. But we'd definitely like to hear from you, Ken, on BPAC's position and what your thoughts are, and also Rick's, of course.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And just to clarify, I'm a member of the BPAC. I'm not the chair. Dorothy Hill is the chair. We did take this issue up, however, in the last meeting. We did advocate for evening use, or let's say dark hour use. So the BPAC's official position is to be open to that concept. I think it's important also to consider the bike path as a transportation corridor. This was discussed at the council meeting. I think Councilwoman Bergner brought this up. And I think that's the accurate way to look at it. We are not trying to say that folks should get out there and just hang out and do, you know, sidewalk art all hours of the morning. There's a legitimate need for safe passage on our town streets, state streets as well. Many of our town roads are not lit. They are legally permissible for transit, however, for bicycles and pedestrians and cars. I mean, I like the concept or the discussion point of liability. I think that's spot on, because we're not trying to make this a pure recreation facility after hours. There's a strong, very, it's a growing population of folks that use this bike path for transit. I did send Terry a quick email, so some quick factoids, if you will. Obviously, this was an old rail right-of-way, so I'm a registered professional engineer. I used to work at DOT. I was part of the group that helped convert many of these rail spurs into, we'd say, rails to trails, and our old railroad folks would say they're going to come back to rails. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But they're level, they're flat, they're not really gnarly curves and corners, except for when you intersect with a town road or a state road. The switchback in Peacedale is one perfect example. So as far as the design, they are safely designed. They're designed for railroads, pretty much. Where they are unsafe, if there are any unsafe places, it's where they intersect with a street, and that's an existing liability of either the state or the town, which is a long-term discussion we're trying to have with, we are having with public services and the planning department, how to address those latent deficiencies. It's something that a lot of us are passionate about as the demographics, economics change. Some folks just can't afford to keep their car. They have to make decisions. More and more people are walking, they're biking. RIPT is, shrinking their service areas, so I think you'll see a lot of interested parties try to reach out and have this conversation to figure out what makes sense. I will also advise that booting this conversation up to the State Department of Transportation is probably not in the town's best interest. DOT is notorious for just being ultra conservative. They have very carefully, going back, I forget how many years the bike path was created, but they crafted, and Terry, you recall this, a construction and maintenance agreement. Mm-hmm. They basically gave the obligation to maintain the bike path over to the host municipality because they didn't want to have anything to do with it. So it is a complex issue, and I appreciate you guys taking this under advisement.
I have a quick question. Are you aware of any other towns with ordinances, or even like the URI connector? Is there any language at URI about that section, or any other, aware of any other communities that would have language?
Yeah, for the university in particular, there isn't. But the university is kind of a dynamic organization. We do try to eliminate as many corridors as we can throughout the rest of the campus for safety reasons. So for the bike path extension, no. The other bike paths, I think, I'm sorry, this is Dorothy Hill, she's the chair of the bike path, BPAC. We don't believe any communities have actively promoted use of the bike paths at night. But then again, they're in different parts of the,
Thinking like the East Bay bike path goes through so many different communities, and the Blackstone Valley bike path, Coventry, I tried putting some feelers out today, but haven't heard anything back, so,
Yeah, this goes back to when the BPAC did our inaugural master plan. We recognize we being South Kingston, we're a cluster of villages. And it's wonderful, it's one of the reasons why we love being here, but there's those gaps in transportation, which is fine. If you're in a car, you know how to get there, but then you also know you're gonna get tied up in traffic on 38 Ministerial or, Kingstown Road, whatever. The bike path is a spline throughout the town, and it helps connect most of the town schools, many of the recreational facilities, and it's found an edge. So we have a unique opportunity to carefully consider use of the bike path at night. I'm dancing around your question.
I have a thought on that, and that is that the East Bay bike path and the Blackstone are a little bit different. I think ours is a little bit more unique in that it goes through populated areas and joins them together in a way that those bike paths don't. Those are really straight shots for great distances. Blackstone does go through some neighborhoods for sure, but East Bay, I think, doesn't connect like our bike path connects the villages together.
Ken, when BPAC was discussing this, were you guys advocating for certain times or just to be open all the time? I mean, obviously people commute from work at the same time all year round, yet dusk and dawn changes, right? So certain times of the year that it's light in the morning when people are commuting and certain times of the year that it's not. Was there like a time parameter that you folks were advocating for, or just complete opening all hours of the day, 2 in the morning, no problem?
We've
And it does go behind people's houses and middle of the night.
I think that we have started to talk about it, but not formally. We received a letter from Terry suggesting that we get together and provide a statement to your committee and CC Chief Moynihan on it. So we've not formally come up with. We've talked kind of around the edges. We've listened to what Ken has said. There's other folks on the committee that have ideas as well, but we've not formally come up with any recommendations.
And if I could follow up, what we saw when this issue was first brought up before the council is, I think, kind of a rapid fire discussion. The bike path is unsafe at night. You need to spend millions of dollars illuminating it. And I respect, the police officer's perspective, but as an engineer, I'm like, well, no, that this transportation corridor, let's look at the geometry, let's look at the areas we're really concerned about, let's talk to the neighbors that are abutting the bike path, and have kind of a science-based, a risk assessment as to what makes sense, and that would help support, the conversations going forward. This doesn't have to be an immediate decision, immediate action, but there are apparently quite a bit of people that are technically out of compliance with this ordinance right now. So,
Have you guys received any data from the police as far as incidences or, with bad actors on the bike path? Anything that, I know they said that in that one interview in front of the town council, I think it was Deputy Chief, is it Bucco?
Yes, at the first meeting that this was discussed, it was the deputy chief. And just so I can give the rec commission some background, so the police department was asked to weigh in at the council level on their recommendation for something like this. There was initial presentation to the council by the deputy chief when he was at that meeting, and the SKPD was not in favor of extending the operating hours. I don't believe I haven't seen data from the police in terms of that. But so the police department has also weighed in on this, and of course it's a very different perspective, obviously, from the law enforcement side. But I will also point out that we know the bike path is used at night.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask, has the police actually enforced the
Mhm.
nighttime hours
Yeah,
of
what
the bike
happens?
path?
The ordinance.
Have they
Yeah.
enforced the ordinance at all? Has there been any instances of police enforcement of the closed hours of the bike path, to your knowledge?
Yeah, yes, there was one instance that started this, a gentleman had applied and was appointed to the Affordable Housing Collaborative, and he rides his bike. And when he was riding back one evening, he was approached by a patrolman and giving a very friendly warning. You know, we're not, you know,
Right, by
we're
the
not
way,
anti-
FYI.
This guy, PD, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Do we know about what time that was, just per se?
I mean, it was probably around 8:30-ish. I mean, I was.
It was after dark.
Yeah.
It was after, yeah.
Pretty soon after dark is gonna be four.
Yeah, because
4:45,
that's where I'm going with this. Pretty soon after dark in the middle of November is 4:30 in the afternoon. You know, it's before people get out of work. So I could totally understand the need to have it available, but at the same time, you know, and I know this kind of overlaps into other discussions having to do with the usage of the bike path, but I know that the usage of e-bikes and other types of bikes have become very prevalent on the bike path and also the bike path connectors. I regularly walk on the new bike path connector up to the South County Commons, and there are some restaurant workers that go very slowly, very cautiously on their e-bikes. But I've been on the South County bike path and have had somebody blow by me and my kids they have to be going 40 miles an hour. So, you know, I think there's like another discussion that maybe lumps into safety, especially after dark, on the type of bikes that are even allowed on the bike path, because you have bikes that they're in essence motorcycles now that we have on our bike path. They're just not with combustion engines. I mean, they are going that fast. And do we have speed limits on the bike path, Rex?
No, and
That's the other-
I've always said it would be very hard to regulate the type of bike, but I think you could more easily regulate the speed.
I
You could
think
put,
so.
But
I know that's not the discussion we're having tonight, but I'm just kind of thinking about it, just
Connected.
being a user of the bike path and a dad and with the kids and nighttime and fast riders and
Certain sections of the path are very dark, though it runs right behind my house, and I'm above the Peacedale connector there, like parallel to 108, and I just think like it's a good thing to bring up, especially as like Curtis Corner is gonna be more in use, as the athletic centers develop there, but as you say, lighting is something that it would take a while to get there, and without lighting, it's hard to say that it's going to be safe. I mean, you have a wet patch of leaves and someone going swiftly on a bike. It's like
And to that point, I mean, that's why, I mean, I specifically wore my reflectorized vest, and I made sure my rear and my front lights were charged before I came out here this evening. So I think, you know, it begs the question of, well, at what point does it become safe, you know? And if you're a legitimate motorcycle and you're on any town road or any state road that doesn't have lights, you gotta have lights. It's just normal. You gotta have reflectors. You gotta have certain things that make you safe and visible at night. And of course, you know, the speed is hugely important. So, you know, I was hopeful that there would be that element of the conversation, you know, at a higher level, so that if this were considered, you'd put reasonable, you know, constraints out there that would hopefully mitigate the liability, you know, question that's out there.
And I think at the last town council meeting, there were two gentlemen that spoke about their experience not having cars and using the bike path after hours. And so I think there's this kind of, are we talking about bikers that are using this to commute to work, and they do have the equipment, they know what they're doing when they go after hours, and are we talking about for recreational use? So I think maybe you can make some distinction if you're talking about rules for the bike path. As it is now, I guess it's part of the Parks and Rec is all parks are closed after dark.
Well,
Yeah.
just to clarify, it's an ordinance in the town code, so
Okay.
it's not enforced by
Okay.
Parks and Recreation. It isn't, if it
Yeah.
were enforced, it would be enforced.
Okay, okay.
Which-
Just
Maybe it could be, well, for recreation use, the bike path, you know, maybe I don't know if that's a possibility. Maybe the police would feel more comfortable stopping people and asking, well, what is your business on the bike path? And they can say, I'm going home.
Yeah, that would be a pretty hard thing, to truly police. But
Yeah.
I do appreciate and understand what you guys are saying, and I think that, me personally, to take a position on if I'm for, the possibility of the town amending their ordinance to allow extended hour usage of the bike path, that it has to overlap into another conversation with these items that we're discussing, that you guys have brought up, with regard to what are going to be the requirements to be on the bike path when it's dark. Maybe there's just general requirements, maybe not even time requirements. Like if it's dark and it's not out and you're a walker or a biker, you need to have something reflective and or a light, speed limit, on the bike path. So I don't think we could potentially limit usage based on intent. I'm going to work or I'm just going for exercise. I think that would be kind of a slippery slope. But I understand why you would feel that way, and it would make sense. But I mean, I just feel like a lot of these conversations, it's kind of like a something that could bring up a larger conversation of possibly having, a more robust set of rules and regulations for the bike path in general.
Yeah. I mean, it's also possible that, it may be more complex than needed, but maybe people could have like fill out a form and have a passport to be on the bike path at night, and like sign off a waiver saying like I'm gonna use the lights and everything else, and the town's not liable if I crash out.
Yeah,
I don't know. It
No.
might be more complicated than
that maybe too.
you want to get into.
It sounds like a lot of this
You're a
is
big
up
biker.
to.
What do you think, John?
Yeah,
Up to us, yeah.
have
I want to hear
thoughts.
from John, being a
Um,
big biking commuter.
I think a lot of it ends up with the liability question, but
Yeah.
if it promotes accessibility to the parks, to home, to jobs, especially, in a month where people will be commuting home from work in the dark, commuting to work possibly in the dark, if it promotes like a healthy way of getting to and from work or finding some exercise that doesn't involve a car, that connects some of our villages, connects some of our parks, I'm for that.
But remember, that also will put a lot more in the hands of our department with regard to maintenance, clearing, plowing. I mean, if there's weather, we only plow one side of the bike path. The idea being that if there's a snowfall, also from ease of it's kind of a huge job. And then to possibly retain one side for, snowshoeing and walking and cross-country skiing and things like that. I mean, if this became, I could almost envision, just as you're saying, Ken, you started with, there are more and more folks utilizing this bike path for general transportation, as opposed to recreation. Maybe recreation, yes, but a lot more using it for transportation. What does that mean for recs and the maintenance of this bike path from the standpoint of keeping it safe, even if the town insurance says, yeah, it's good enough, and now.
And then it does get into the whole issue with, at what point do we have to sand and salt it? And do we want to put salt on the bike path through environmentally sensitive areas, through the swamp? And then do we also want salt on to have it all over people's bicycles? And you try to avoid that by going on the bike path. So it does raise some other questions.
Because technically the town roads are the ones that are, that we look to have clear for, public transportation, vehicular and pedestrian and biking. And obviously VPAC is heavily, big stakeholder in making those roads safer as well, which I know is an uphill battle. But I just think that it has there's a lot of layers before I could support possibly unilaterally just opening it up at nighttime hours without a lot of these other pieces of the puzzle falling in place. But I agree with John. I think it should be. I mean, in theory, it should be available. I mean, if someone wants to commute on their bike and it's 6:30 in the morning and it's pitch black out and technically the bike path is closed, you know,
I mean, that puts them on 108, which is
exactly.
not okay.
Which
Not
only
great.
has sidewalk on one side, and I live on one way. I see so many dangerous situations
Yeah,
there.
it's not
and
great.
along Saugatucket where there's no sidewalk. I mean, it's
I mean, I commute to work,
yeah.
and the other reason I'm on there when it's dark is just to make sure nobody else is.
Me too. And I'm just following Rex.
Yeah.
Well, I think the point is, we realize that the bike path is used after daylight hours. And there are many layers to figuring out how to get the best use out of it for the entire community. So all of these questions are good questions. I think the first step will be the legal, first layer is the legal perspective and what those implications would be, and then a discussion potentially, okay, let's list all of the things that we need to think about if the council were to consider changing the ordinance. They would need information to make their best.
I like where you were heading with, if you're gonna use the bike path after dark, you need minimum of A, B, and C. Reflective clothing, headlight, taillight.
Right.
So if somebody's walking and a cyclist comes, then the cyclist can see the walker and not run into him.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
please
With
slow
also
down.
a speed restriction
Yeah.
on the bike path, which I think is gonna have to come down the pike at some point.
Yep.
Because it just, yeah.
But I do think that's where, while we are not the rec commission isn't necessarily the unilateral, advisory to the council, the BPAC really is in this realm, but clearly they'll need information from the recreation department and weigh in on, things that we're familiar with, and knowing that we do understand there are people that use the bike path at night. What would we recommend, or what are the possible pitfalls, and how do you avoid them, so that if the council were to consider something, that there would be, the first iteration would, hopefully consider all of these things that have been talked about tonight in a way that makes us not have to revisit it, year after year. But we're putting, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, I think, if we're waiting to hear back from legal counsel first.
Well, the good thing is that we're being recorded, so this is all a matter of record, and we're kind of putting all the chips out there. As you guys know, our commission are big supporters of pedestrian and bike connectivity with the town, and also the efforts that BPAC makes. So we really appreciate you guys coming tonight and letting us know where your group stands and what you guys have been discussing. And hopefully there's going to be some element of progress and a solution to expand the use of the bike path safely at some point. But we're not going to make there's no need to make any motion. We can't. You're right, we're just going to wait and hear from the town
Yeah.
council, yeah.
I don't think you can make a motion
No,
tonight
no.
anyway.
It could be as something as an hour after dark or an hour before dawn type of thing, correct? Or does this a big,
Well, it could be
Where
a
does-
time
where
to
does-
time. It could be a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or a 6 a.m. to 7, whatever.
anything, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it could,
Hmm.
because the dawn and it shifts during the year. So then when you start, it's kind of like, let's not talk about public access in the high tide rack lot, but I mean, if you just
Yeah.
have a standard time frame, because that's what I was saying in the beginning. Folks go to work at the same time every day. Just because it's getting light at a certain time doesn't mean, maybe I'll go to work an hour later today. It's not light out yet.
Yeah, I think I'd probably also want to take a look at the original funding that was brought to bear to build the bike path. It was very likely funded through the gas tax and federal funds, transportation dollars. So you'll hear me say this frequently, and we'll go back to the BPAC. I'll talk it through with these folks too. And that's a slippery slope, because there is no prohibition from riding or walking or jogging or driving on a town or state road while it's dark. You just have to be smart. You have to be safe. So I think that's a strong line that I want the solicitor to follow up on. This was funded through FHWA and Rhode Island DOT funding.
Saying that it should be treated similarly as a state road?
Yeah, it was funded with transportation dollars. So
Right, but you're saying the same rules should apply to the bike path that would.
I'm gonna make that a long stretch.
Okay, because I don't know.
Moonshot.
Yeah, the last time I heard I couldn't drive my car down the bike
Yeah,
path.
yeah.
So
No, this is true. This is true.
there are,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that at the last town council meeting, that when they wrapped it up, I believe that town manager Manny said that he was going to have a discussion with someone at RIDOT.
Yeah.
We'll have to listen to
Yeah.
it, to see what he was looking
Yeah,
for.
I'm not super hopeful for Director Alviti in his opinion, because he pretty much has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
The construction and maintenance is all with the town for this bike path and all the bike paths in the state.
But we have in the past had state dollars improve the bike path. I think it was back in 2012, but it was kind of a one-shot deal, and they did repave quite a bit of the bike path. But for the most part, it is town maintained,
Yep.
capital and day-to-day. That is true.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for coming. You're welcome to
Yes.
stay for the rest of the meeting if you want, but we appreciate you
Thank
coming and definitely keep us
We'll-
informed and we'll do the same.
Be in touch. We'll send our recommendations to
Thank you.
It is on our next agenda. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Nice meeting
Take
everybody.
care.
Okay, guys. All right, we're gonna circle back to the rest of correspondence and public comment if there are any other, Terry, that we need to.
There are not, except for the one communication that came in today, but it's in
That was
reference
pursued.
to advocating for keeping the bike path open after dark, and that was from Lisa Beth Sanford, who is also a member of the BPAC.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, guys, we're gonna move on to the monthly financial report.
Yes, I will be quick on this. It's in your packets, you know what it looks like, so.
Yep.
Very good news for the month of September. We're up about 6% on the programming net revenue over last year. And that's very positive. Some of the things I'd like to point out are we're up about 8% on the recreation self-support programs, and those are primarily the contracted camps. Those are not in-house programs run by the rec department staff. They're not the softball league, they're not the tennis leagues, they're the theater camps, not the theater camps, I'm sorry, is it the theater camp? No, what else are the self-support ones? Those are,
All our outdoor camps, flag football,
oh, yeah, flag
outdoor
football.
programming.
So those are up, and also the rec center programming is also, I'm just making sure, that's up as well to 41%, over 32% last year. That's in part due, we were talking, like Lincoln and I were talking about this, Road to Broadway, the theater camp now is run out of the rec center. So those revenues are hitting that line, but the rec center is doing great in terms of.
So that'll be incorporated into the budget next year as to the calculations next year, so it
Yeah.
won't be so, okay.
But we'll still have the camps here. That's a theater program.
I'm sorry, that's the program, not the camps. The camps are in the summer.
Right,
That's the theater program that's going on now. And it's up a bit because I don't think we had one in the fall last year. We had one in the winter. I think we're also going to have one in the winter, so we've increased the theater programming at the rec center. The other thing I wanted to point out was the youth programming, which is a guild revenue. We're already at 75% of budget, which is big. Now there, we did have theater camp here, and we attribute that, and also the fact that we had 3 weeks of discovery camp here at the guild versus in the parks, which would have been rec department revenue. So that's reflecting those additional programs. But overall, we're at 48% of revenue on any programming items versus 45% last year. Any questions on programs? Okay, if we move down to our facility revenue, we're also up almost 12.5% over last year. You'll note our park rental income, we're already at 75%, which is up from 61% this time last year, which is really good. I think part of that is attributable to the fact that we are using Civic Rec, and people have to pay when they reserve.
Yeah.
So that it is a big difference.
Yeah.
So we're really pleased to see that, and you know, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but if we continue with facility rentals this way, I can't imagine we won't exceed what we budgeted for park rental income. Also on the town beach side, we're pleased that we're actually about 16% ahead of where we were at this time last year, so that's really good news too. Lincoln and I were talking about that as well. The Park mobile app at Moonstone brought in over $10,000.
Wow.
So people know they have to use it. It worked well. It doesn't require people to go to the beach first and pay for a pass. We worked well with the police. They did ticket, but I don't have numbers yet from SKPD, but there were not nearly as many tickets issued.
Their revenue is way down.
Their revenue's down on the Moonstone.
Oh, well.
And ours is
But ours is up. So, you know, it is an argument for looking at that technology potentially in tandem with what we do at the town beach. It would take some doing, but, you know, there is the possibility of, in the future, looking at going cashless, completely cashless at the
Yeah.
town beach. It's safer, it's more secure, it's more accurate.
And then really could just have a monitor going through the lots, just checking and.
We would still need
Yeah.
gate personnel, we would still, it's not like it's going to eliminate
Yeah.
a ton of personnel, because we would still need that, we would need parking lot monitors.
Right.
But it does, it eliminates a whole layer of, you know, security issues,
Yeah.
people handling cash, that type of thing. So that's good news. So we're up in our facility rental categories. On the outside revenue funds, these are our typical, you know, we have our guild trust fund income. There's nothing unusual here. We get those infusions from the finance department either every other month or quarterly, but those will hit as we go through the year. And then on the expenditure side, there's really nothing out of the ordinary. We are a little ahead of where we were last year, but if you recall last year, we had vacant positions, we had a number of things. We're actually almost at full staff. We have a park maintenance technician position that is open now, but Lenk is at full staff. We're pretty much running on all cylinders, so we're seeing our expenditures reflected as they should be at this time of year. So there's really nothing outstanding that catches my eye. And which is why there's also nothing yet under the accounts to monitor. However, I will say that electricity, we will be watching closely because those costs have gone up. We did exceed our electricity budget for the rec center this past year.
Do we ever talk about going solar on the rec center? Doing a solar array on there?
Like a retrofit solar? I don't,
Doing a solar array on the roof of that thing.
no, we've never talked about that.
Okay.
Did you want to talk about that? We can put it on a future.
At some point, yeah, I think because it's pretty much it's highly electric run over there, right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much lights and
Yeah,
the
I
heat-
mean,
heat
and
of
the
water
exposure
there.
on that building is just
You could heat the water easily.
great,
Mhm.
but.
The roof-
Certainly
you know why, 'cause
something
I mean,
self-sustaining.
my friend owns Newport Renewables there over they, and they do
Yes.
a lot of state solar
Mhm.
projects, and we had chatted about that just very, very lightly, and I said, I don't think we ever had a discussion about that. I know not at the time that it was being built, because we only had the money that we had.
Correct,
So.
right, right.
But there may be some programs out there that could be pretty interesting.
Mhm. You know, we can talk to Mark Russo, facilities is really,
Yeah.
he's in tune with, the buildings and facilities, and he's also the liaison to the Sustainability Commission, so, and he's involved heavily with our, capital improvement
Yeah.
program for any of our buildings, so that certainly,
Will the improvements to the building will affect the electric too? They bring our electric up a little bit, they have so much
Which
stuff running
one?
on power, just the.
for the guild,
Yeah.
they are not, I don't think there's any electrical upgrades. What will help are the windows. So that will,
No,
you
I
know.
just mean them using power while they're here, might affect the electric.
during the, they might use a generator for some of their work, but it's
Cost
It's gonna-
of,
cost of
Yes,
doing
yeah.
business
Exactly.
kind of thing. And, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
The Peacedale office building is on track for its operational budget, which is pretty consistent, there's nothing out of the ordinary there. And then just quickly, the Friends account shows, September activity, $3,700, in the bench and tree program. And then also, that's year to date on the skate park, you're aware of that, that's the
Yeah,
Trevor,
ongoing.
project. And otherwise, I think that's really it for the financial
Great.
report.
Is there a second available for an update on the renovations here? Or is that an item?
It's not an item, but I can quickly tell you that, you've seen the scissor lifts and the, activity on the outside of the building. They will be finished with the scraping and removal of the paint on the exterior of all the windows by the end of this week. The gym is the last, component of that. They've also done the reshingling of the dormers. You may have noticed, I don't know if during the day you did, but there's new shingles on all of the dormers. They've repointed and painted the chimneys, and they look beautiful. And it's funny, because if you look up, you'll notice how lovely they look, and how the rest of the building really needs to now look a lot better too. So they're working on the windows. I'm fairly certain the roof won't start until the spring. But the windows is a big job, and they are also working on, they will not work on the alcove, the entrance alcove, until the spring as well, because they have to demo that and actually reconstruct it. So, I'll get back to you though, I'm not sure I'm correct on the roof. They may start the roof before the end of the year. But, they've been good, considering that they're working on a building that is constantly in use. They're very communicative. We meet, once a week on Wednesdays with the contractor and our project manager to just communicate, you can't be in this room, you can't be doing this, or, where we can schedule things appropriately. So that's been going fairly well, yeah.
Thank you. Do
I'll
we
make a
have
motion to approve the financial reports.
Motion by Joanne,
second it.
second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Move on to item 6, old business. Item A is the Parks and Rec proposed capital improvement program for 26-27. This is revised from the first one that we saw.
Yes, and just briefly, we did Rex and I did meet with the town manager and the finance director, and we reviewed our proposed budget. And, as we expected, because we really, we present what we feel, we could use in order to keep up, right? Keep up with our parks and improvements that need to be made, but we certainly are realistic in understanding that every department has needs, and there's only so much money to go around. So it has been adjusted downward. We presented a budget of $1,044,000. That's what was presented to you at the last meeting, just as an informational piece, and I reviewed those, and we are reduced to $679,000, and that is primarily, I think I had talked about, there was $200,000 in there for docks down at Marina Park, along the area that Ram Point would be, their lease would be expiring. We knew that was a, you know, if the council wanted to do that.
Any update on that?
Not at this
That would
point.
be great, yeah.
It's certainly something that we are keeping on the radar, but it is not really the top priority for what
'Cause
we.
when is the lease up?
The lease is due to be up in June of 2026, but they have an extension option for 1 year. And,
With that space included?
yes, with that space included. So there's some time
Okay.
if they exercise that option, but at least we know what we need to do and what type of investment is needed in order to consider having town slips along the Saugatucket up at the top of Point Judith Pond. So I'll just run through it quickly to remind you a little bit of what we have. We have 3 pieces of equipment: a pickup truck, 3/4 ton with lift gate and plow. That was not changed at all. We have a skid steer loader for $55,000. The truck is $65,000, by the way. A front mount mower with bagger at $47,000. Those 3 pieces of equipment for now are in the budget. The playground improvements, we had proposed $165,000 to cover 3 different parks. And so what has been done is it's been spread out over several years, and for the 2027 year, we're looking at $100,000 instead of $165,000, which it will be a reserve fund, so we can select which parks we feel are most needing upgrades. And we also have an opportunity later in this meeting, we'll talk about the DEM Recreation Development Grants, which may help to allow us to do more, even though we have less, if we can secure some grant funding. We have the Town Farm and Marina Park Master Plan. That's spread over a 2-year time frame instead of 1 year. And we had $130,000 in for that, I believe. And now we're down to $65,000 for the 2027 capital, and another $65,000 in the 2028 capital. So the funding's not going away, it's just being spread out. So, also, on the portable stage, I actually had $20,000 in there to start, but we did get a quote back of $35,000. That has actually gone up to $35,000, so that we know that we're on borrowed time with the stage that we have now. We need a new system that's, can be used in any park, set up, and so we do have that budgeted for 2027. The Old Mountain Field chain link fence replacement has also been spread out over a 2-year time frame, $30,000 in 2027 and $50,000 in 2028. That was originally $80,000 in 2027. So if necessary, and we have to do certain sections of the.
Yeah, we saw that at the groundbreaking the other day. I was like, wow, that
Yeah,
fence is looking a
the
little rough.
fence, yeah, the softball field fence, right. And then the Park and Bike Path Tree Management Program, where we have been putting away about 10 grand every year. We have a little bit left in that, so there's none allocated right now for that program. We have 10,000 a year starting in 2028. So that's been reduced. And the marina park, I talked about the municipal docks, so that's been spread out over a number of years also. So,
OMF Phase 2, 2032?
well, did you look at the,
Not that far
what's
away.
what's the amount on it? I'm trying to look at
Only
this.
1.8.
1.8.
How much is
By
that gonna be in
2032,
$2032?
it'll probably be more than 1.8.
$4 million bucks.
But, so I just wanted you to be aware of where we're at now, and, now this could change, but I would like for the commission, if you're okay with this, to either support it or not, with a motion. If you're so inclined.
Yeah.
Entirely up to you. Or if there's any questions, and please.
Yeah, I mean, this is for next year and it's gotta go to the town, so you need it.
I'll make a motion to approve the capital
Alright.
improvement program.
Our motion master, Joanne.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Matt. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. CIP for 26-27 is moved. And next is old business item B, just an update on the Old Mountain Field capital project status.
We had a lovely groundbreaking last week. It was a beautiful day. It's exciting to see us kind of get started there. You may have noticed that there have been some trees that have been removed, so that is taken care of. We are working with Berman and Beta and Rhode Island Energy to keep the electrical component moving, because that is really what we need to fully have in place before Berman's ready to mobilize and put shovels in the ground, because what they don't want to do is get out there, start working, and then not have the electrical taken care of and in place. So we're really aggressively trying to get that buttoned up.
And those trees, there's some big ones, Rex, huh?
Yeah,
So those oaks,
Who gets the
and where are
fireworks?
they
That was good,
now?
that was
It
my
was-
question.
Where are they now?
so the tree company, it was a subcontractor of Berman, and they were a tree and firewood service, so,
Ah,
yeah.
Gotcha.
I know. A lot of people had their eye on that nice
Yeah.
straight oak, yeah.
Yeah.
wood is wealth.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we'll be excited to see that get off the ground more. Old business item C is the status of the Tuckertown Park and Fagan Park playground projects.
So I'll let
Yeah.
Rex.
So I'm
Which is also-
pleased to announce that the Fagan Park project, playground installation is complete. Safety surfacing is in place. We got a final inspection from Megan O'Brien, owner of O'Brien and Sons. She gave it the green light, so we did a social media post that the playground is open, and it's nice to see that now getting used. After many years of kind of taking components off of the old structure that was there, just because certain parts of it were no longer safe. So nice to have that one behind us. And Tuckertown is nearing completion. The contractor has started preparing for the new sidewalk around the perimeter of the playground, which is really the final component. I'm told that the paving's gonna be done on Friday. Originally, when I was gonna replace that sidewalk, I was really hoping we could do a concrete sidewalk, but when I started getting bid prices back, I realized that concrete sidewalks were out of the question. It would have blown the budget on that. So we went back to an asphalt sidewalk, which is what was there before, and basically replacing, just like what was there before. So that's supposed to be done Friday. My staff has to come in early next week to top dress around the perimeter of that, do a little bit of site cleanup, and then that'll be good to go.
Okay.
So I would say within 2 weeks, Tuckertown will be open and ready for public use.
So just to tack on to Rex's report, I did have some feedback from the neighborhood in the Fagan Park area. one of the things that a community member pointed out was that the kids that are local to that area have really outgrown a 2 to 5 year old kind of play structure there, which, you know, I can understand that if there are folks that live in that area and now there was a little bit of disappointment in that their children can't really play on the toddler one. They've outgrown it. Now we know that with the neighborhood parks, and it really isn't just for that neighborhood. It abuts the bike path, so there are plenty of people that walk their, you know, children down, their 2 to 5 year old, their tots to use that playground. But I did take the feedback. It's important, and in hindsight, you know, we did not directly engage that neighborhood in general. We haven't done a neighborhood park in a long time, I don't think. And so we had a good discussion. I went down to Fagan Park. I met with some of the folks there in the neighborhood last week. I talked about how we could, you know, what could we do? What's the solution? And one of the solutions may be, and it's further down in our agenda, is looking to find some funding through a DEM grant potentially for consideration of a structure that could go in that is more suitable for 6 to 12 year olds. The park does have space. Rex and I were talking about it. You know, it's not out of the question, but it's not something that was necessarily in the budget. But I certainly want to take under advisement and consideration of the neighborhood that utilizes that park. So when we get to, I think it's one of the final new business items, I'll give you some information on the DEM grant application.
Okay, thanks, Terry. On to new business. New business item A is the election of rec commission officers for 2 months of 25 and in 2026. We typically do this at our August meeting, but we did not have an August meeting, and we didn't end up having it on the agenda for September. So here we are. I know we don't have Sean with us tonight, but if you guys want to do it, we definitely can.
Sure.
Typically nominations are made for various positions, or
What are the positions? A treasurer?
So they're right there, yeah. So they're
Secretary?
chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and member at large. And we've kind of shared over the years, kind of taken turns.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of times the commission member that has been sitting on the commission, you know, the longest would be, you know, in a chair position, and then when they're done, they kind of bounce down and kind of come back, and
Oh, I see.
everybody gets a chance to be the chair or the treasurer, which I know it's not a lot of heavy lifting, but so I think I've been the chair for at least the past 2 years, 2 seasons, maybe two
The
to
whole
3.
time I've been here, you've been the chair.
How long?
3
That
Oh,
lets
so
you
maybe
know
it's
right now
3.
that John wants to be the chair.
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
You want to be the chair?
No.
so I
Absolutely.
I was threatening Sean Johnson with nominating him, but now I feel bad a little bit, but I don't think it would be that big of a deal if we did make a nomination. Unless someone wanted to step up right now and do it. I know that aside from Joanne and I, Sean has been on the commission, I guess, the longest. Joanne has been chair a number of times, right? As have I.
Mhm.
So, but
Let's nominate him. He's not here.
That's what I was gonna say. What do we not want? We can nominate him for.
yeah, and usually the person that's not here traditionally gets nominated for whatever the nomination is. So if you would like to nominate Sean Johnson to be chairperson for 25-26,
Yes, I nominate Sean.
all right.
And you're okay with that?
And when
totally
will you
okay.
when will you
Okay.
pass over your chair?
Yeah.
right now.
Ooh.
No, next meeting. So Sean would be chair for the.
Can we do it like
no.
a surprise party? when we
Yeah, totally. I think that's fine.
See if you read the minutes.
He could be watching.
Yeah.
tell him? He probably
Would anyone like to second Sean's nomination?
I'll second that.
All right. So Sean Johnson is nominated to be chairperson for 25-26, second by John. Do we cast a vote for that, I guess? Or
You
we
do,
just-
but you can
Oh, we do
lump
it all together. Okay, so
if-
yeah, so let's,
Positions,
if
so
you
let's
want to do all the
do,
nominations, or you can take them separately.
okay,
So
so let's do
Sean's
the rest
chair.
of them. Joanne, being the longest standing rec commission member, do you have any desire to be any specific
No, I'll take any of them.
role?
They're fine.
Okay, so if we did it in order of seniority, for the folks that have not been chair, it would be Sean, then John, then Matt, and then Joanne, then myself would be at the bottom. So that means that Sean would be chair,
Mm-hmm.
John Hanson would be vice chair, Matt Frazier would be secretary, Joanne Blessing would be treasurer, and I would be the member at large.
Mm-hmm. And Matt, you're the second.
Sure.
As long as
What is
I.
the member at large? Is that the?
I don't know, what.
It was a
there-
ton of work.
Tell
I
us
was
more
like-
about that position,
Really?
Terry.
I
It
didn't
really
even
is
think.
just a fifth member, so there's an odd number of voting, and you're all pretty much, except for the
Breathe and
chair.
tiebreaker.
Yeah, exactly.
We have so many close votes.
And just remember, typically, guys, the vice chair would step up and run the meetings. I mean, the chair, it really is the one responsibility of the chair to run the meetings, and that's pretty much it. The other positions are rather ambiguous. However, if the chair is not here, the vice chair would then step up and run the meeting.
Sean better not miss a meeting.
Okay.
You'll do fine.
So are you okay with that as the proposed motion, Matt?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So do you have that, Terry?
I do.
Okay. So motion for the new positions as stated by Matt, second by John.
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. SJ 300. Let him know.
Or not.
Well, if he says no, then it's you.
What's that?
Oh. Yeah, never mind.
Okay, guys, we'll move on. New business item B is the Rec Commission Policy Manual Review, and this is our first reading.
Okay.
Yes, so
The
there,
changes.
I've got in your agenda summaries a number of items, so I'll just run through them and we can have discussion if you have questions, or if there's anything you'd like to discuss, by all means. But the first one is the employment restrictions. As you recall, we had this discussion back in July, I think it was, with seasonal staffing. And so the proposal for section 6.3 of the policy manual, employment restrictions, is to change, and you can see it in red, is to note that immediate family members of the Recreation Commission, Town Council, Town Manager, School Committee, and Town Department heads may not be employed in full-time year-round positions by the department. The other changes noted in here are a little further down. It says, relatives of employees may be hired for part-time or seasonal positions which are not directly supervised by a family member.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was
So,
hoping that we would make that change.
It does provide a little more flexibility. You know, we've had difficulties with hiring some seasonal positions or part-time positions. This does allow for a bit more leeway without compromising any type of issue with reporting structure, because these positions would not be reporting to a family member. And for the most part, they're seasonal. Maybe an occasional part-time, but
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
that's great.
it was
Those
a need. I mean, we made the change because there was a
Mhm.
need for seasonal employment, and we had a good candidate, and, you know, kind of makes sense.
Yep,
Yeah.
agreed.
okay. The next item was for, it's just really a housekeeping item that Lenka pointed out. For the policy on fees, program class fees will include an administrative charge that will be used to offset. We're eliminating credit card fees because we do pass the credit card fees on to the customer.
Yeah.
That's just what we do.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry.
No, I said, oh, I see, I understand now.
Yes,
Yep.
so that's just cleaning that up. And then under the scholarship program detail, this also refers to not just programming, but now facility rentals.
Right,
We did
'cause
have a
had that
discussion
question.
also
Yeah.
on community members who are interested in using facilities and renting them, and that the same policy for program scholarships should apply to facility rentals for South Kingstown residents, which is we utilize the school lunch program as a kind of a benchmark for that, and so we've added a discount, a program, all South Kingstown families who qualify for South Kingstown School Department's reduced lunch program will be entitled to a 20% discount on facility rentals and class registration fees for town programs. And then item B is the same thing. Families who qualify for the free lunch program will be entitled to a 40% discount. So we added facility rentals in addition to class registrations.
And that's Civic Rec can handle that, knowing who's who and who qualifies, or do they say that?
They submit their form from the school department,
Cool.
and then I can go in and manipulate the fees.
So that is that recommended edit. The refund policy is only on here for discussion's sake. We did have, some discussion around camp refund policy recently, and I don't have any recommended changes, but if the commission wants to discuss, we can certainly do that.
So you have this, so if it's more than a 1-day class, they could withdraw less than 3 days before and still receive an 80% refund, less a $10 processing fee?
That's for regular programming.
Multi-day or week classes.
Yes, so,
Monday night for a month kind of a thing? Like something that meets
Like a
once
session,
week?
yeah. Like an exercise class, they meet a couple times a week. We would meet it before the first class runs. Or 80% if it's after first class.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
So you'll allow them to withdraw with an 80% refund less than 3 business days before the first class, but no later than the beginning of the end of the second class.
We have some classes that offer first class free, others don't, so if people want to try it out.
Okay.
Or it's maybe too intense or it's not what they thought it would be, so then they at least get 80% back.
Okay.
and so it really became, the camp programs are the most difficult because there's a lot of shuffling around. But one of the things that I think we can do with that is put more information out there to the customers, like either, and if it can't be a pop-up question, then it's gonna be on everything they have to fill out that, that there will be, that the policy is a 50% refund if it's not 5 full business days or more before the class.
So this last one
It
that
says
we had
class,
last
should it
month.
be the first day of camp? Because below it says
Yes, yes.
it does
First-
say
First,
First.
first full day of
Yeah.
camp
Yeah.
below,
yeah.
so I was thinking it should match that
Yes, it
above
should.
it.
Agreed, John,
Yep.
yeah.
we'll change
And
that.
also, the question that we had last month, that was a request to withdraw less than 5 full business days before the start of a camp, right?
Right.
Was it a
Yeah.
camp? But there was no refund,
I think they want the rest of the refund.
or there
No,
wasn't.
there was a refund, there was a
They got
50%.
50%.
Oh, they got
They
a 50%.
wanted the other 50.
No, that's what they were
Oh.
They wanted
entitled to.
100%
Oh, okay, but they got the
refund.
50%. Oh,
Correct.
Okay, and that
Correct.
hasn't changed.
Correct.
Okay.
And I don't think it needs to,
No,
actually.
no.
We're also utilizing a new feature with Civic Rec that automatically emails out You can set how many days out of a program that runs, and it's gonna say who the participant is, what the program is, what the schedule is. So I'm gonna set that up. We're trying it out right now for fall programming, so people will get reminded of what they're signed up for. We're gonna do it for the summer and do it outside of the refund window, so if their plans change, they're reminded they're signed up for this program, let me refund now, I'll get the full refund.
Okay. So
That's
that way
very
there's no
nice.
questions. Perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, this looks good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So, if you all have any other policy recommendations, I will forward the full policy, I'll forward you the link, the policy manual is on the town website. Please feel free to review it, in the current form. These items will come back at the second reading.
And
you
when
can
is that?
vote
Is that a
on them.
month
That's
later?
next month.
Okay.
In addition to any other, we'll continue to review the manual. If there are any other recommended changes before the next meeting, we will add them to this. And then the commission can vote on, edits that they would like to incorporate for.
But for purposes of the first reading, do we typically make a motion to approve the
No.
edits?
No,
Okay.
we'll wait until the second reading,
Okay.
okay?
Great. Thank you. New business item C is valuation report on the 2024 beach operation? 25.
Oh, did I
should
put
be
that? I'm
25,
sorry.
Yeah. We're in
My,
Better,
the
25.
1995,
typo.
1995 beach operation.
we'll correct.
Bill,
Sorry
I
about
just
that.
wrote 1995.
Bill's on it tonight.
That was a great year.
Okay, Mark, no more.
Where is
We like
where is-
that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hand this over to Lenka. I did just make a few comments on the agenda summary, how overall the beach season was very successful, particularly in terms of staffing levels, increasing the hourly wage. It kept us very competitive. Also, recruitment early allowed us to staff up, train, and move forward. We had a couple of, hiccups that were unavoidable with some illness and whatnot, but Lenka did a great job really kind of regrouping and moving forward with really what was a great guard staff and gate staff and management this season. We already talked about the Park Mobile app being very successful on Moonstone Beach Road. The summer concert series was well received by the public. And the only very important thing to know now is that the state is imposing a 7% tax on public parking, including beaches. And so the town will be required to pay the state of Rhode Island 7% of all parking fees. Is it just the day passes, or it's all of our,
All short-term parking.
all short-term parking? So we have to consider that as we move forward with the operational budget and how we recoup that, because that's over $10,000, right? Didn't we determine closer to 18,000? So I'm going to hand it off to Lenka. So her report is in your packets, but Lenka, if you want to give a brief
Sure, I mean,
report.
our goal with the beach is always safety first, but to also stay open to Labor Day. And now, second year in a row, we've stayed full staff and open to Labor Day, which is great for our community. We had 14 lifeguards this summer. No, that doesn't necessarily mean 14 full-time guards. We have some part-time. We have some that leave early for school. This was the first year with the lifeguard incentive program that we did actually have a few guards that qualified for the August payout, which was huge because a lot of guards, like I said, go back to school. We do have our current roster right now. We had some there at URI. We have some at the high school, so we did have some local kids, which was really helpful for us to stay open. And we also sold all 16 of our beach lockers, which we haven't done since I've been here, so that was a big pull for us. We had a wait list for it, so I'm hopeful, again, we can continue to promote that program. And then, as far as recommendations go, if you look at the evaluation, I factored in fee changes to consider to help offset the sales tax that will be having to cover now. I think overall our beach operation has maintained consistent fees, which has been great for the community, but this is something that's unavoidable. And then the only thing I would like for you to consider would be an additional shift for our fourth lot lockup security. It'd be a 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift, Thursday through Sunday. I think we had support from the police, but it wasn't consistent enough for the parking lot to avoid the gate being open when staff show up in the morning, cars slipping through. I think we would have better control over it if we maintained it ourselves, if someone's interested in the position.
Sounds like a fun job.
Yeah, but
What would they do?
but
from
that was at
point?
the request
Security.
of, who, can you remind me, who initially made the request for us to move the location of the gate and open that up at night?
Yeah, that was a discussion between the police department, this department, in light of the parking dilemmas on Matunic Beach Road, to allow for, being able to have one lot open longer. So yes, you're right.
Because the
And-
businesses,
Right, because of the businesses, and
Right.
it did help, but it's growing pains, right? It's trying to figure out, okay, how do we make it work? But we did have some issues where either the gate was left open, the main gate, or the new gate was, the post was removed, so people who were locked in, but that was,
I mean, it,
yeah.
Yeah, you're dealing with 1 a.m. decision making a little bit.
yeah,
Sometimes in the public.
and I just wanted to hear it again, because I know it did come from the police department also, right? They were,
Yes, we were trying to find a solution that
well, they were
to the
trying to
outs-
find a solution?
They and the department trying to find a solution for the Matunic Beach Road parking,
So
Parking
the
issues,
the
so-
recreation department was trying to seek a solution
no,
for the.
no. But
Okay.
we were brought into the conversation.
But who was conversing? Like, who was the conversation with? Was it the town council? Like, who?
No,
who
it was SKPD. There were discussions previous, previous summers at the council level that we have a parking issue
Okay, right.
on Matunic Beach Road.
Yeah.
What can the town do?
Okay.
So there was multiple departments
Yeah.
discussing, primarily the police and Parks and Rec, because there's no other public parking over there except the road.
Right. Well, there's
on how do
private
we make
parking that
that
people
work?
could pay for at Mary's if they so choose. They charge.
I guess so. I don't know
Yeah,
how
there's-
that works,
there's
but
a private
I'm
parking.
guessing those fill up. I don't know.
I mean, they don't completely fill it, but just people don't want to pay for parking.
Mm-hmm.
Being a frequent Matunic parker. I just don't. The reason why I'm bringing this up is I know that we did not initiate the push
Correct.
to open up this lot, yet our department is the one that has to deal with all the ramifications of it, and things happen, and I just want us to be funded appropriately if we're going to have to hire and staff and pay
Absolutely.
and clean up. And we did have maybe an informal promise or support from SKPD to monitor that lot. And as I recall, what we were going to do was open up that lot, push that gate back, allow it to happen this summer, and then let the summer go by and then come back and talk about how was it? Is this something that created an extra burden on us? Was there more trash? Do we need bathroom facilities? We were talking about some porta johns.
We didn't see that. We didn't see trash. We didn't see the need for porta johns. It was really about the gate primarily,
The
right?
gate,
And
yeah.
the police, we did communicate with the police. There were times when the gate didn't get locked. We can certainly have that discussion again, and quite frankly, honestly, I have not had a further discussion with the
Okay.
chief, but we
Yeah.
can do that.
Well, we're
But-
hot off the end of the summer just now anyway, and I think maybe it would be a good idea
Mhm.
to kind of see if we could possibly, if they could reiterate and reinforce their support, maybe we don't need to staff somebody this coming season. But I guess where I'm going is I just want us to be adequately
Be a
taken
great
care of.
CSO position.
If we're gonna, yeah.
Wouldn't it?
If somebody would wanna do that at that time of night, that's the thing.
Right.
And we did have, we had some other issues though, not related to the parking, but on the beach itself, with people building fires and stealing the
Yeah.
dune fencing and that.
Well,
and
because if
that's-
they're able to park there, Terry, at
It
10,
was
11.
not people who parked in the parking lot.
It wasn't?
Because-
It was
No,
walkers.
It was walkers.
Ah, those walkers.
yeah.
That's
And-
those public
and
access
so,
people. No, I'm just
I think what we're seeing is we need to rethink where our security detail needs to fall in the scheduling, because we were, for a while there, we used to have people who stayed on until midnight. Then we didn't see too much problem, and so we backed them off to, and we had budgetary issues, so we backed off to 9 p.m. 9 p.m. doesn't seem to be late enough, because, you
Yeah.
have a whole community that lives down there, that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know,
that'd be
the-
like if they closed the Narragansett parking lot at 9 o'clock, people would go crazy because that 9 to midnight or whatever, that's prime time to hang out at the beach.
yeah.
And they pretty have a good police support on that
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And we had good police
Police station's
support,
right there.
but I do think we just need to either tighten it up on the police side or take it over and explain to the town council. I mean, this year, we did not run a self-sustaining operation because we just can't anymore with the lifeguard wages, with the maintenance, and we don't even include the park maintenance. in
Right,
that.
so that's what I'm saying. So if and that's really the idea, is for the beach to be self-sustaining in theory. I mean, we know that's never, perfect,
Yeah.
but just, if we keep adding on like these extras and extras, here we are looking at the CIP
Excuse me.
program, we have to push this to this year and this to this year. It's just another thing. I just want to be cognizant of how everything costs money, and, if that's something that the town council is, really, pushing for us to maintain and keep open, that hopefully we would have their support in order to be able to do it, in a fiscally responsible way and not go too far in the red on the beach budget.
Agreed.
Park mobile. For after
Yeah.
hour parking.
And from the little that I know,
Yeah,
not the first time that
Park Mobile.
we're taking care of other departments. We meaning you.
Well, we're not, I would not categorize it as
Yeah,
taking
another
care of another
department, yeah,
department. Cause we're all kind of on the same team.
Yeah.
But I think, we can have a discussion and open the lines up, communication a little better with the police
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, maybe the Park Mobile thing could help fund somebody to be stationed, I don't know, somehow. If it's free or not.
Yeah. We can look at that.
Just to go back into the 7%, that's a 7% on every parking space in the beach lot all summer.
All revenue coming in,
And
Yeah.
is
So
that,
that's
On
gonna
the
be, that's
revenue.
gonna mean a fee change, I mean, we're gonna have to do a fee change.
Yeah, that's what Micah was saying.
Yeah.
and this is not from this past summer, this is starting next summer, or starting next.
Started October, I believe, this month,
Okay.
Really?
right?
Starts right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we.
But it's
we're
really
clear
just
for last
And what's
season.
it's carload, right?
It's a total revenue for parking.
Yeah, all the
But I
park
mean,
receipts.
what does it cost now for each car to go in?
If you're a South Kingstown resident on the weekday, it's $10, 20 on weekends and holidays. If you're a non-South Kingstown resident, it's 15 and 25.
It's hard to make it, I mean, it's hard to go from a nice even number like that too.
No, if you,
But 10%'s another $1, right?
so I put my recommendation, it should be in the packet.
Yeah, we'll probably, is that at the end?
Mine's on page 25.
Yeah.
So I put on the recommendation portion what the fee would be, and then the increase reflected. So a beach sticker, resident's beach sticker would go to $70, it's a $5 increase. Non-resident would go to $140, $10 increase. And then for daily parking, it would go up $2 for residents for weekday and weekends, $3 for non-residents.
More than that,
weekends.
that covers the 7%
Yeah.
and someone to staff the security.
Well, I don't know, is that the case? Cover 7%, somebody?
It does cover 7%, I haven't shaken up the
Yeah,
budget
because
fully
$2
yet.
on 10 is 20%.
When we present the operating budget,
Yeah.
you'll see that, but also be advised that, like I said, this current year, we are, I can't remember exactly what it is, but maybe 20,000, you know, in the whole,
Yeah.
where we're getting general fund, dollars to cover that.
One other question on the beach, how is erosion this year? Like, is it affecting I mean, I know the beach looks like it's in great shape, but I'm just curious, cause I'm just been watching what they're doing in Narragansett with those blocks in the parking lot, and my neighbor, was the one, she works for FEMA, and she was the one who like wrote the grant for that. And I just don't know if we have any erosion issues, but that is something that's out there and possible, like that's paid for by a FEMA grant, and, you know, the water's coming underneath the lot, and it's gonna collapse, so that's why they're putting in those blocks, those big Dolo blocks. I don't know, just if it comes up in the future, just, that is.
I mean, there's erosion.
That is a resource, you know, it's not on our parking right now, but.
We've had,
There are some available grants to.
there are, we used the
like
FEMA
that.
grant to move the pavilion back
Yeah.
several years ago, so,
Right.
no, it's definitely, it's a problem.
Yeah, you can sell.
Some years are better than others.
Yeah, I mean, the topography couldn't have been better all summer long.
Right, well, it was completely flat all summer, but we've had
And-
some big wave.
Yeah,
events
I
in
was
the
down
last
there
few
this
weeks.
morning and it's steep again, you
Yeah,
know?
we had a couple of big as
Mm.
well.
Yeah.
More coming.
Do we need to decide anything or make a motion? Is that what you would say?
On the beach evaluation?
And then, yeah, and,
No.
yes.
As far as the recommendations for
Yeah.
fee increases, or is that later?
That comes in February, right? January?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when
we're
we'll make a formal recommendation for, fees and that type of thing.
And parking.
just-
And the
Yep.
9 to 1 AM, okay.
Yeah. Cool. So we're just on to new item, business D, new business item D, which is a request from the Wakefield Village Association for a rental fee waiver for the use of Saugatucket Park for the Main Street Halloween Parade on October 25th. We're getting there. 20.
So this is already set up, they're just looking for the fee waiver.
It's a free community-based event for children.
Yes, so they have reserved Saugatucket Park,
Yeah.
but I did let them know that if they wanted a fee waiver, which, I mean, they've done this every year, it's a free community event for the youth.
We waived it
They
every
would-
year?
They would, I don't know if they've used Saugatucket Park
Oh.
as the start and end of the walk, but that's what they're interested in doing, is being able to use it to kick it off and then end there as well. I think they had an estimated number of
Oh, it's 100, I think I just. read.
100, maybe
Yeah.
100 people total. You know,
Yeah,
it's
100.
certainly up to the commission. I think Wakefield Village Association does great community events, and it aligns well with what, you know, what the Parks and Recreation Department sees as, you know, a good thing in our parks, so it's.
And
it-
do
it
they
was done
have
well.
to have
Candy
insurance?
wrappers.
Is this another thing where it's an event where they need to be insured and have to provide cleanup?
Actually, we do have their insurance certificate from
We do,
the previous event they
Which
had,
is-
but we can certainly make sure that
which is
that's
active, and
up to date.
no additional burdens on the department, Rex?
No.
No, I think it's a pretty low-key event,
Really
really just, set up for the parade
Yeah.
and then end there. I don't think they're planning on having any vendors or
Okay.
Yeah.
anything like that.
And they're willing to clean up if there's any trash left behind.
They're
and
very
stuff like
responsible
that.
in the park.
I will make a motion.
All right, I'll second it.
Okay. Motion to approve the rental fee waiver for Wakefield Village Association by John, second by Joanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so moved. Okay, we have 2 grants to talk about. First, new business item E is proposal to apply for a DEM large rec development grant, and that is for Town Farm Park.
Yes, so DEM has a new grant round out from the Green Economy Bond, and we'd like to be able to apply for more than one. They have 2 categories, a large grant, small grant. The large grant is for up to $500,000 in grant funding with a 25% local match of $125,000. I distributed a kind of a very rough conceptual design for Town Farm Park. Just as a little background, the parking area that the hospital has leased from the town, there's actually 2 of them, but the one that's directly adjacent to Town Farm Park is the one that we're dealing with this particular proposal. It will be coming back to the town, in terms of, there's no more lease. And what we'd like to be able to do is, we looked at the park, Rex and I and Rich Bourbonnais, our Public Services Director, to see how we could better configure it to maximize green space, but also incorporate that parking as the main area for parking for the park. What you see here is in the dotted area, that's the circular drive at Town Farm Park. We're proposing to eliminate that and recapture that all as green space. The playground area and the circular drive right now have the best view of Point Judith Pond. It's the highest elevation.
Yeah.
So we think that's a very appropriate use, better use of that space in terms of allowing for public use.
A way to draw people to that park. It's very lightly used, I think, at this point, right?
You know what, the funny thing is, like our public services director, they're right in the building next door. He says that playground is used regularly by the neighborhood. Now, it's a neighborhood playground, but it's used regularly. We actually saw an uptick, correct me if I'm wrong, Rex, an uptick in the use of the ball field
This season, yeah.
this season.
Yep.
So there is this regular traffic. I'm not saying it's the high volume, but, and you know better than I
It was
do.
also affected by the lease and the parking with the hospital too.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's on the highway, so it's.
But this would really be probably a first phase, because if you recall, we're trying to get funding for a major master plan for Marina Park and Town Farm Park from a connectivity standpoint. But this would kind of be the start of that, to be able to take that parking back. And when I say take it back, there would still be an entrance from the hospital lot. It could still be, it's a public lot.
So I was gonna say, what precludes people from going to the hospital from using that parking then, and using most of it?
Are they employees that are using that lot, or?
I have no idea, but what I will say is, in the daytime hours, the park use isn't generally conflicting with the hospital hours, when the hospital is the busiest.
We'll just have to have signage. This is not hospital parking or something like that, because it does get packed in that hospital lot still.
Or is it also hospital parking?
Well, the hospital will have a new lot across.
True, but it's not as
Oh.
close. That's a little further away. A little further.
But we're proposing to also do upgrades to the playground. Rex, do you
Nice.
wanna?
Yeah, I mean, the playground needs replacing. It's exceeded its useful life. And we also envisioned this would be a really neat place for a small picnic shelter. You sit at a table there, and at the top of that hill, sitting at a table, you don't see most of the traffic because you're looking out over the hill. And so you see just upon, maybe the traffic a little bit on both ends, but I mean, that area up top has so much potential.
It's beautiful.
And
And you always
really,
get a nice breeze off the water,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
I mean, I lived over here and we would go there all
And
the
then we
time
still
with
have the
kids.
land that goes around this way, right? That goes like
We do.
around the, because I
Yes.
really like the idea, when we had the presentation from the hospital and they were telling us how they were going to beautify everything and make this linear park and, googly eyes. But it would be really cool. I mean, just like you said, master planning in phase 1, but I would love to see like a linear walk similar to the, Saugatucket River in
Yep.
town, like a walkway that goes over the
Towards the water.
estuary. Yeah, just be gorgeous. And this could be a wonderful connector to that.
That's kind of what the envisioning is in terms of a longer term plan. But to get something started here, and we really do feel like it needs something, and we are, basically reabsorbing that parking lot. So we see it as an opportunity to make it more attractive, have more green space, but still have enough parking. And then, in the future, there's definitely, looking at the ball field and whether or not this area is still appropriate for a ball field, or if it's something else.
30 pickleball courts would be amazing. No, I'm just kidding.
And we also know that there is discussion that has been had about acknowledging that this has also been a site where indigenous people, lived and were right by the river, and so some type of acknowledgement, whether it's a stone or a plaque or a peace garden or something that, and we would really need to tap into the community to make sure we're on target with that. And I think that is also something in a larger plan.
That ties into your second thing too, with the other grant for Dam Street.
Right, so this is really very conceptual, but we do want to be able to put an application in to DEM and see if we can secure some funding to get this phase of town farm improvements started.
And would we make a motion to support that application?
Yes, you would need to do that.
I'll make a motion to
Just
support that.
quickly, I love this idea. Are you talking about absorbing this parking lot? Will that be
Yes.
like reseeded grass?
No,
or-
that parking will stay. That will be the parking along with the,
Okay.
The circular
All
would
right.
be.
right.
Cause it looks like you have spots here that is parking.
We
too.
do, we
Okay.
do. That's also,
So you're adding additional
So
parking.
maybe there'd be
Yes.
as
signage
well.
at the parking lot, like Town Farm Park, like,
Yeah.
nice sign, so people know that it's not for the hospital.
Well, we got to get the money first.
Yeah.
And this is just a first rendition,
Right.
We're gonna play around with this, and what I would hate to see is, personally, hate to see us creating more parking spaces
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
than
we need-
what exists now,
Right,
and so we'll have to look
for
at
the
this.
hospital to enjoy.
Yeah, makes sense. Motion to approve the application for the grant by Matt? Was it by Matt?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Second by Joanne. Any further discussion? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What's the period for the grant? How long would it? Like, when is the
it
application
would be
out?
awarded in the spring of 2026.
Okay. So that grant would go out, that application would need to go out in the next month or so, probably.
Yes, correct.
are you able
That's
to get the
correct.
grant writer?
And,
The town grant writer?
the town doesn't have a grant writer anymore.
Oh, they don't?
We'll write it. We'll write the grant.
Right.
And we'll do what we can. But thank you for supporting that.
A nice
Yeah.
flowery vision, native plants.
Great. And then on that same page, we have a proposal to apply for for a small recreation development grant, and a discussion of two options, either one for the Treaty Rock Playground or the Fagan Park Playground expansion,
Where's Treaty Rock?
Middlebridge.
Ah,
Oh, right.
Treaty Rock Playground
Oh, yeah.
is on Middlebridge Road. And that, I think we have that in the capital plan as well. But that is another neighborhood park that needs some TLC and really some
Yeah.
replacement
Yeah.
structures. One thing I will clarify is we can submit as many grants grant applications as we want to DEM, they do ask that we prioritize them. So our intention would be to prioritize the town
Cool.
farm, the large grant as our number one. And then what I would propose is possibly putting in applications for two small grants.
What
But
do you-
see if we can
prioritizing
capture-
Fagan over Treaty Rock, is that what you have
Not necessarily, but, you know,
here? Okay, so
Can
that
be
wasn't the
considered
A and the
sometimes an
B.
underserved part of the community, like Fagan, you know? Not just, like you said, like, some people said to you that they felt that there's a segment of the population that's not being served there, right? Like this.
well, I
this-
will say
A
that
certain age group
Well,
that could.
the
use
criteria-
something they can walk to.
Yeah,
for these grants, does have you put demographic information. And the other piece of it is, one of the things they look at is if it's a new feature, if there's something new going in. Like, I don't think we've had a 6 to 12-year-old play structure featured at Fagan Park ever. So that would be a new element, basically, introduced. And there are some things that support that, one being the neighborhood surrounding Fagan Park. But, you know, we might find the same thing at Treaty Rock in terms of certain needs. So maybe a
Yeah.
new element.
I mean, they're both good options. You know, the one thing I could say is that Fagan, obviously, community members have given their feedback, which is important. You know, that park is also connected via the bike path to some of our other facilities, whereas Treaty Rock kind of stands off on its own. You know, off Middlebridge Road, and
Yeah.
it's the only community park that's available to the residents in that area. You have kind of Route 1, and you're really divided by the highway, but then you're limited. It's only that from a pedestrian accessibility standpoint, limited
Right.
to the residents that are down in Middlebridge.
Yeah, they do have
Unless
access,
you're driving
access
there.
to a lot more via bike
So.
path from Fagan, and you have all the trails and whatnot back there as well.
So it's hard for me
I'm
to
just
pick.
curious, like, what is a play structure for a 6 to 12? Is there like what do you mean?
Just higher decks, different climbing opportunities, you know,
Yeah.
more balance, required activities, things like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, we can certainly, if the commission would like, we could evaluate a little further and make that decision in terms of prioritizing
Yeah,
those.
I think
But
so.
we would like to be able to put in both applications.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
The more
Can't,
grants, the
it can't
better.
hurt.
No.
It can't hurt. And if, you know, if we are not considered for a large grant, at least we have some alternatives in there.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2 small grants.
Okay, so a motion by Joanne to approve the application for the RIDM 2026 Small Recreation Development Grant with further discussion on prioritizing how to approach that, I guess, right? Or
Well-
do we have to pick the one right now, or?
No.
No,
No.
okay.
Okay. Can I second this and have a further discussion for 1 second? I'm just wondering how bad of an idea it is to, if Fagan Park money gets approved, to take the younger play structure and put it in Treaty Rock. No, bad idea.
We can't move.
It's over.
It's already in.
It's beyond its useful life.
It's
No, but take the new one from
The one that's been installed already?
Yeah, but then the residents who want
Then
the
the
play
little ones
structure
are gonna
for
be
the little
mad.
ones,
Yeah.
you know,
They're
you're
still-
always gonna get the complaints of what's not there, not what is there.
Yeah.
So as
If
soon as you
took away
take
the little
something
ones,
away,
we'll
you're
just get
wondering,
more new
"What?"
of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I still second the motion.
Okay,
It's a
motion
nice
by
thought.
Joanne, second by John for the application. Any further discussion?
Mm-mm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. The ayes have it. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Hopefully we'll have more to discuss on that end. New business item G, we
We already
already
did
took
it.
care of. Amazing. We are
That's-
on to division reports.
That's a 10-year plan. In 10 years, there will be hovercrafts and the bike path will be completely.
Well,
lit,
yeah, I mean, my concern is like the way that Ken was talking, it's like, is it gonna be the newest, thoroughfare for
It
commuting.
is to a degree.
Right,
But it's
and
going to
that-
be even more so over time.
And that presents its
I
own
think
set
so.
of problems for walkers and recreators, and, you know, so.
It gets crowded out there on a nice day,
It does.
yeah.
Okay, who'd like to go first? We have Rec Division first.
Sure. I just wanted to highlight 2 new programs that we started for the fall. We have an after-school skateboarding club that we started, as well as an SK Open Track Day. And so we do offer the skate camp in the summer. This is another opportunity for kids who skate to continue on outside of camp. We'll be continuing to offer it in October as well. And then the track club or track day, I think is just cool because it's a low-cost program and it's just to get kids out there to learn about track and field. And then 2 returning programs I wanted to highlight was Toddler Time. We had a solid group of toddlers in the gym today. I was surprised given how much it was raining. But it's been a solid program that we've had now. It goes, I think it's October through April, 3 days a week. And we had our first bus trip this past Saturday to Salem. We had 20 participants, and it was a great day for it. Weather was perfect, and we're hoping that that leads to more bus trips. We do have one planned for New York in December. And this upcoming Saturday, we have our pumpkin path if you guys don't have plans.
Right.
Oh,
Good path.
hot apple cider?
Not quite. Just pumpkins.
Trunk or treat, though.
Oh, yes, trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat.
We do that with
Candy bar.
SKPD. It'll be over at Broad Rock this Saturday in the evening. Any questions?
Oh, great. Good stuff going on.
Just for future questions, I know they've tried a school of rock in the past, and I know that some of the guys in the music school have been talking about it. Is there any possibility of like future put that here?
We do. We've been offering it
Have
in the
you been doing
brochure.
it?
We just haven't received any bites on it.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Rock and roll's kind of dead, but I feel like if there's kids out there that want to do it.
I know one.
All right, yeah, I was just curious. I didn't know if like Greg and Pete, I heard Greg and Pete talking about it, and I was like, yeah, that'd be so great.
Yeah, Brendan, our NAP coordinator,
Yeah.
he has put it in almost every season with the brochure to hope to gain some traction,
Yeah.
but I haven't heard anything. If there's interest, we'll do it.
Yeah. All right, good to know. Thanks.
All right, just a few things that I wanted to mention that Terry has already mentioned. The Trevor Forever half pipe is well under construction. Jess Martell has been working very hard on it. I met with the group yesterday up there just to confirm that the design so far is what they have in mind. Construction is what they had envisioned, and Jess has really gone above and beyond what he was originally contracted to do up there. He's adding some more features to it, really taking some of the cost on himself and labor on himself. So it's projected he'll be done by November 8th for their unveiling. They're having a Trevor Forever unveiling on November 8th up there. So the plan is that it's going to be all ready for that. Staff has been working hard, the usual fall sports, making sure fields are lined and ready to go for all the different events. And we've had some rainouts over the past couple of weeks, so adjusting schedules and preparing infields when conditions are less than ideal has been a lot of work, but the guys are doing a great job. Terry mentioned that we do have an open full-time park maintenance position. We have interviews set up for next week. We have some what look to be very highly qualified candidates. So far, I think we have 3 interviews set up. But I also wanted to point out that not only do we have the one open position, we also lost all 4 of our seasonal park maintenance laborers because they were only 16-week positions. So we're literally down 5 people from what we were this summer. So, I have to say that probably the park staff that I have right now is is really probably one of the best teams I think I've ever seen here, as far as their efficiency, knowledge, and being able to keep up with things. So, but they can only do so much. We had no major vandalism to report this month, so that was good. We had our usual volunteer at the disc golf course, Dan Arcia. We just got approved for a replacement front mount mower with bagger the other night at the town council meeting. So that has been ordered. And unfortunately, the turnaround time on that is about 7 to 9 months. So we really won't see it until next summer.
Custom made.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any other questions.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
How do we come off in the press with did anybody check the 10-cent cigar? We had those students here last time.
Oh,
You know, I didn't check, but I think we asked if they would
If they would send along.
send along.
yeah,
Oh, I'll have to
I'm just curious.
Check.
Talk to the professor.
yeah.
check back on that.
No further discussion, we'll just have to make a motion to approve the division reports.
I make the motion.
Motion by John,
Second?
second by Joanne. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next meeting of the rec commission is scheduled for Monday, November 17th, 6:30 PM, and that's gonna be at the Nature Center.
Nature Center, Ace of Pond?
Yep, good. Hopefully with the stove raging. Cool November night. Okay, thanks, guys. Unless there's anything else we have to discuss, we can make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Matt.
Seconded.
Second by John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.